Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I thought I would go ahead and update you guys on how my reading is going of A Song of Ice and Fire series. I obviously am on book 2, A Clash of Kings. So now according to Goodreads and Storygraph, I was pretty far into it last time I had started this. The good news is that I can change on Goodreads, like, easily. I can go back to the, like, I don't have to add on numbers, like, with Storygraph, which is just a small thing. But on Storygraph, if you already started a series, if you already started a book, they won't let you go back if you're restarting it and change the numbers. You have to go forward with the numbers of how many pages you've read. So, unfortunately, I can't update on Storygraph, but I can update on Goodreads. This is gonna be a short video because I don't have a lot to say, because obviously I'm only on page 81. So basically this picks up right where book 1 left off, where Ned Stark and the Stark family is very spread out. They're all over the place, and they're all mourning the loss of Ned and not knowing how to deal with it. And like Arya is forced to go on the run with Yoren from the Wall, and she's to disguise herself as a boy, which is kind of ironic. She's very much a tomboy, and now she has to be a boy. Like, literally, she has to pretend to be a boy. And she's actually traveling with Gendry, who was introduced in book 1, and he's the bastard of Robert. So they're traveling together, and I think eventually she makes friends with these boys. She becomes very close with them. But they're pretty hard. They're very hard on her because she's small and petite looking, and they think, oh, she's not capable, even though she has a sword, just needle, like, So I feel so bad for her because she has to pretend, even though, yeah, she's a tomboy and doesn't mind running around, getting dirty, and doesn't like the traditional feminine activities. But still, she has to, like, it's a lot. I think her life now is her life is obviously a lot harder because she has to be very careful about how she does certain things, because she has to hide the fact that she's a girl. And so she can't really get cleaned up, she has to stay dirty, which, I don't care how much of a tomboy you are, I think eventually you're gonna be bothered by being, dirty for that long and not being able to clean yourself. And then she can't, like, go to the bathroom as easily because, again, girl. And, and we just got the scene where the Gold Cloaks show up, and they're actually looking for Gendry, who is like I said, the Robert's bastard. Cersei wants him, probably wants to kill him or something, and Arya thinks it's her they're looking for, but no one recognizes her. And it's funny, they do a callback to how, in a Game of Thrones, when she was out there beyond the castle, running around, her father couldn't find her, so she finally is, brought back to the castle. No one, at first, they don't recognize her, so it takes her a while to get in. And when she's brought back to her dad, he gives her a little lecture how he's worried for her and was trying to look for her and everything. And then someone shows up to tell her dad, that he's been summoned. And this person, I don't remember who it was, but he was like, he assumed she was a boy. And then there was a scene just now where a character, now, of course, I don't think they meant it as that she looked like, and obviously they didn't mean it as she looked like a girl, that they could tell she was a girl. She's just, I think they meant it as in she looks too delicate, she looks too small, so small that she, like, a kind of mocking kind of way. And she's like, I'm a boy, when she just when they call her a girl, they say, "Girl, get out of the way," and just like, I'm a boy, and it's just kind of funny, and it was like I felt like it was a callback to that little scene in the first book. And then we have Sansa, who is stuck living with Joffrey, and she is so like absolutely terrified, hates his guts, and is so disgusted, and like talks about how she used to like fantasize about him, and his touch would make her shiver with anticipation, and now she just doesn't want him. It's like, his mere touches just makes her sick. And it's funny when the Hound is interacting with her, and then I know at one point he's going to end up crossing paths with Arya. I don't know if it happens in this book. I think it's in book 3. It's book 3 or 4. I don't know. He's actually kind of like, even though he's intimidating, and his scars make him, his burn scars make him appear unattractive and scary looking. To Sansa, he's a lot nicer to her than the others. Well, and there is the one other guard whose name now escapes me for some reason. The one that she was actually fine with when he came to collect her and bring her to Joffrey. She said she actually was okay with him. She'd rather him accompany her and Joffrey's other, King's Guard, because they're all, they will all hit her under Joffrey's command, and this guy is a little nicer to her, but the Hound is actually kind of nice to her too. Like, there's one scene, like, Joffrey, the book starts out on his name day, and he's having a small, tiny tournament, not a big deal. I mean, like, the Hound kind of is like, these guys are pathetic, they're not worth your time, and there's one particular squire, I don't remember his name, but there's one squire that shows up, and he's drunk, I think, at the time, and he's now, and I think it's a little, if I remember, it is a little different because I watched a little bit of the first episode of season 2, and it is a little different than in the book. But I mean, that's no surprise, because there are a lot of differences, like small things that are different in the show versus the book. Like the way the episodes in the show start are often a little more exciting or action packed or something. Like they grab you, get your attention. And the screenwriters don't waste time on like slowly reintroducing you to the story and everything. Like the books, with the prologue and everything like that. Like, in fact, the prologue starts with Stannis in his maester expressing his concerns, and I don't think and also I think the Fool character that's in the book is not in the show. I don't think we don't have that character in the show, but it starts with that. And it starts with that in the book, but it doesn't start with that stuff in the show. The show actually starts with them, doing some kind of ceremony to the Lord of Light, who Melisandre worships, and the guy I'm assuming is the Maester shows up, is trying to talk to Ser Davos, who's also concerned about the situation. And while the book starts out with the Maester expressing his concerns to Stannis, and you see that Stannis is no longer taking the Maester seriously. He's considered an old man. He's old and fragile and weak, and there's one scene where they're having a feast, and this Maester did not get summoned to come to the feast. He wasn't welcome to come to him, and he ends up, and it turns out the younger Maester Pylos has taken his place, who's a younger man, and I feel so bad for this guy, because they're very mean to him and condescending to him, except for Ser Davos. And Maester Pylos also isn't as mean, but Stannis and his wife are, of course, really are just jerks to him. and just talk down to him. And I feel like that's the problem you run into when you're older, when you're in your senior years of life, or if you're a teenager. I think both age groups are dismissed and not taken as seriously. But anyway, so yeah, so that's a little different from the book, how the show starts. But the show, and that scene doesn't even come until later. Actually, we don't open with that scene. I don't think we open with other stuff. I think actually we open with King's Landing. We open with that part, and I understand why with a show they would have a different opening than what's in the book. The book is the opening's a little slower, and it's more of getting to Martin spends a lot of time getting to know the characters in like small ways, while the show has to pull you in, get your attention, and keep you interested and excite you and everything. So I feel like with a TV show audience, you have to go a different route, a different approach to introducing a story and catching people's attention. But anyway, back to that one. So back to which actually we're talking about the opening scene in the show, and we see Sansa is brought to the you see this one guy, like I said, he's a little drunk. And Joffrey's kind of pissed. He's like, "You're ruining my name day" attitude. And they're like, "Oh, he should be drowned in alcohol," kind of thing. So they start now in the show. I don't know. I don't think they actually. It was before. I mean, maybe they did, because in the show we see them pouring the tankard of alcohol down the guy's throat, making him drink it all, and Wow, Joffrey says he's going to do that, but I think in the book, Sansa stops him before he does, but they already, maybe not though. It's little details like that confuse me, because it's like, they have a character say they're going to do something, and then it's like, did they do it? Or like, because in the show they showed them doing it, but in the book, they say they're going to do it, but they don't actually. Martin doesn't explain. I don't remember though. It's been a little over 24 hours since I read that part. So I do not know. But anyway, Sansa comes up with this idea of being like, no, it's bad luck to kill someone on your name day. And she has to be very careful about what she says, because this kid has a temper. Joffrey has a bit of a temper. And will tell people to hit her, and that's the last thing. And of course, that's the last thing she wants. And this was a moment where the Hound shows that again he's he's actually kind of nicer and trying to help her out, because he says, because she's not sure if it's true. She just said that because she wants to protect the guy. She's like hoping that maybe he'll forget it, and probably hoping he'll forget about it within the 24 hours and won't kill the guy. And the Hound says, no, she's right. It is bad luck. Because, of course, if she says it, Joffrey might not, take her seriously. But yeah, that scene is so disturbing. Like, the idea of them pouring alcohol, making this guy drink all that alcohol. It kind of reminds me, actually, in the show Supernatural, when the 7 deadly sins, they have physical demonic forms. And one of them, and these hunters show up to try to stop them before the Winchesters do, and they come barging in, while Sam and Dean and Bobby are like, no, that's not a good idea, that's not smart, that's stupid. Well, they're like, we don't care, we're hunters too, we've been doing this for years. And they go running in, and the deadly sin of, I think it's gluttony. Is it gluttony? I want to say he makes the guy drink bleach, and that's what kills him. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. I don't know if any of you ever watched the show Supernatural or not when it was on, but That was in season, is that season 3 or 4? And I think that was in season 3 when that happened, when the 7 deadly sins showed up. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of that scene a little bit from that episode of Supernatural. Making this guy drink, like pouring the alcohol down his throat, which I guess that could kill you. I mean, there's such thing as alcohol poisoning. But yeah, the way that Martin comes up with the different ways of killing people is very disturbing and terrifying to think about. Like, very, very gruesome, very creative ways to kill people, but just, but I mean, it makes sense in this kind of world. Imagine it's very easy to die in this kind of world. So we also have Bran is very much struggling with being king now, or Lord of, I guess, no, he's not king. He's Lord. Robb has declared himself king. Or the other Lords of the North are like, you're king. We rather listen to you. You're the only king we'll listen to. That's, I think that's at the end of book 2. Or book 1. That's at the end of book 2 when they have that scene where all the other Lords of the North are like, you're our one and only king. And so Bran, who's like 8 now, although he would be 11, I guess, in season 2, he's struggling with this. He's grieving the loss of his father. His mom and brother are gone to River Run and at war. His sisters are like, Arya's missing. Sansa's trapped in King's Landing. So he has no one except for, Hodor and Maester Luwin, and he's kind of formed a friendship with Osha, or Osha has taken on to protect him. She's her being one of the wildlings that cornered Bran. There was a scene in the first book when Bran and Robb go riding because Tyrion gave Bran a special saddle so he can actually ride. And when Theon and Robb get distracted, have to take care of something, Bran gets cornered by Osha and a bunch of other wildlings, and Osha's the only one that I think one of them took off running, and Osha's the one that they end up Asha, I guess it's Asha. I don't know, I have to remember. I'll have to listen out for her name and how they say her name on the show. And they end up holding her prisoner. And they take her to and she kind of forms a friendship and a protectiveness over Bran. And, telling him very different things than Maester Luwin, because she knows she's been beyond the wall. She's been out in the world, so I think she knows a little bit more than the Maester does. So so that's all he has. And the Walder, and now they have 2 Walder boys, Walder Frey's nephews or grandsons, are now being fostered at Winterfell. And Bran does not have it. He does not like that. He does not like them being there. But Walder Frey is like kind of a funny character because he names all his, every time he has a new son, every time a new male heir is brought into that family, they get named Waldar. And it's like, how do you get them? How that's kind of confusing. How do you remember them? But that man loves himself way too much that he wants to name every male baby in the family after him. It's like, it's just a name. It's not gonna make, it's stupid. He's one of those really annoying characters that I just could not stand. But yeah, so Bran is not having them there. He has to deal, but he's the Lord of Winterfell now, so he has to deal with it. He has to be respectful to them. And he keeps having all these weird dreams about being a wolf as well, which is really interesting. And of course, we know where this is going, where his character will end up. But like I said, I've only watched the TV show version of that part because, like I said, I read this book and then the first book and then got halfway into book 3, but never finished book 3. But I've watched the show. So the show, I think, basically follows most of the story. And so I know where Bran's gonna end up, but I'm curious how it plays out in the book versus, you know, what they did in the show. And I don't know what was, because I think they probably got a basic outline about what was going to happen in the last two books. And like I said, there are probably some differences in the show, not a lot, but like probably still has the basic plot. But, you know, they had to, eventually at one point they were on their own. By like season 5 or whatever, like season 6, and you know, I can't remember how many seasons was. I think it's 8. So the last 3 seasons they were kind of on their own, which clearly a lot of people see them as they did not know what they were doing. They don't do a good job unless they have something to work with, and more than just an outline. But anyway, so let's see where else. Oh, and then there is Tyrion, and Tyrion has been sent by his dad to be the hand be the hand of the king, Joffrey's hand. Like, keep a leash on this kid, because you know he was supposed to grant Ned Stark mercy and let him take the Black, but his idea of mercy is, oh, I gave a quick, clean death. He's like, that's mercy. It's like, that's your definition of mercy? Yeah, I mean, I think Ned would have taken the Black over getting his head chopped off. Although sometimes in some cases I think death can be a mercy, but that's only when the guy's actually like suffer. I think it's when the character's actually suffering in torturous pain or something. That's when I think death is a mercy. Or when they're a literal, like, you know, when they're like a monster or something. But Ned Stark was not he was a prisoner, of course, and considered a traitor, but it wasn't like, you know, he was, you know, well, either way, it's not, to me, clearly Joffrey doesn't understand mercy. And he expects Sansa to be all obedient and stuff like that. And, you know, Joffrey's biggest problem is his mother spoils him. His mother told him his whole life he deserves to get everything he wants. And, you know, he has all this power, which is funny because it's not like, you know, his mom is a lot wiser in her decision making. While Joffrey's very impulsive and temperamental. But he's also a 12-year-old boy, because, like I said, it starts with his name, Day. So he's obviously a 12-year-old boy, so very immature, and such a brat. And I kind of feel bad for Cersei and the fact that her son is such, like, everyone hates her son. And that she created the monster that he is. And I imagine she probably regretted it. But she loves him, so she probably has very mixed feelings about him. I mean, I don't know, but I would assume she would. But anyway, so yeah, so like I said, I haven't got very far. I was gonna read a little bit of Catelyn's chapters, but I decided to stop so I can make this video because I wanted to also make this video, but also have lunch and not have it too late. So anyway, so that's all I really gotta say about what's going on in this, in Clash of Kings. But it's still very entertaining, fun to read. I love all these characters, or I have a love-hate relationship with these characters, I should say. And it's, you know, surprisingly, as I don't know what it is, but it's definitely, like, reading this now, having more experience with longer books, it's not, you know, in more epic fantasy, it's not that hard to read, and the chapters are often short, each character's perspective, so it's not, you know, it's a long book. Well, let's see, how many pages is this one? Some sword. It's all the extra stuff. Oh, and no, they probably, I'm wondering if we're gonna meet the Martells in this book. I cannot remember if we meet them yet or not in this book. So this is, ignoring all the extra stuff, like this is 728 pages. So 100 more, well, a little bit more than 100, but, you know, like a little over 100 more pages in this one. So, of course, that's how series go. A lot of times they get bigger and longer as the series progresses. So, I'll probably read a little bit more today of this. And, I don't know what I'm going to read next while I'm reading this one. Because I just finished Breach of Peace. Which I guess I should do. That's what I should do. I should do a video where I do a video review of Breach of Peace. Yeah, I was thinking of my review, the review I wrote last night of it. Because I was trying to think of ideas for what to talk about, some more videos to make. But anyway, so I did, I'll just also mention that I've read I finished Miss Todd Shortcut, The Jaunt, I read The Wedding Gig, and Paranoid. So now I have Paranoid, A Chant in Stephen King's The Skeleton Crew. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 14 stories left in this one. So the monkey was really fun. That was a fun. I'm not gonna really elaborate because I'm gonna talk about that more in my wrap up for May and June. But I'm gonna go ahead and mention, a tease of my thoughts on these. So I liked the monkey. Cain Rose Up kind of confused me a little bit. I probably won't have a lot to say about that one in my wrap up. Miss Todd Shortcut was a cool concept. The Jaunt was more sci-fi, and that was really fun. They're kind of scary at the same time, but he is a horror writer. Stephen King is a horror writer originally. The Wedding Gig was a little different. The Wedding Gig was a different kind of story. It was different kind of fear, not like monsters or anything, but fear of something happening. And then Paranoid was just a poem. Paranoid, A Chant. I feel like I would need to reread that one because I'm trying to understand that one, what that was about. So, like I said, we have 14 more to go. So we have The Raft, Word Processor of Gods, The Man Who Would Not Shake Hands, Beach World, The Reaper's Image, Nona for Owen, which maybe that must be a story he wrote for his son. Survivor Type, Uncle Otto's Truck, Morning Deliveries, it's Milkman #1. Big Wheels, A Tail Laundry Game, Milkman #2. Grammar, The Ballad of the Flexible Bullet, and The Beach. Or, not The Beach, The Reach. So this collection definitely has a variety of different stories, but I feel like a lot of his collections would be like that, have a lot of different types of stories. Okay, so that was a quick video. Not a lot to say. I haven't got very far in Clash of Kings. I'm gonna read a little bit more for today, and then I'll read some more tomorrow. And I might have Wednesday off. I don't know yet. But I might also have Wednesday off. I'll just have to I'll be double checking my my schedule as it gets closer. I'll check tomorrow because there's a weird thing on my schedule where I'm working on Thursday, which I haven't done in a while. I haven't been on the schedule for Thursday lately, but it has me on 8 hours, and I'm a part-time, so I don't do 8-hour shifts. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on my schedule tomorrow, which is really frustrating because I have, when she is constantly changing up the schedule at the last minute. So I hope I don't have to call because, like I said, I'm not working tomorrow, so I'm not going in tomorrow. Unless like my dad brought me up there tomorrow to talk to them. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on my schedule. But so I might be off on Wednesday and working on Thursday, which will be a first in a while. But yes, I might have Wednesday to read as well. But until then, I will get some reading done today. A little bit more reading done today. Although I'm kind of having the inspiration to read a book, one of the books that I bought recently, because I was watching. It's a I'm hearing a lot of people talk about it on. Also, I'm watching these videos about it that kind of inspire me, motivate me to pick it up and read it. So I might pick that one up, but then I have all these other books that I need to read. I always feel guilty when I start to feel a slight guiltiness when I feel the desire to pick up a book that I just bought, which, you know, I'm already doing with reading the Game of Thrones books because I just started buying these, the regular size paperback editions. But anyway, okay, so if you guys like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell notification below if you want to be notified when I post new videos. And I hope you are having a good day today, enjoying your reading, staying healthy, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye!